Alright, I am going to do a little video about retargeting. It's not going to be greatly edited or whatever. I'm just straight up sitting here figuring it out and just figure it out, and we're going to go through with it. Now I have two vastly different rigs or rigs right here. I have one that I exported from Blender where I'm using actual Blender axes. Just when I exported them, the only thing I changed on export was that the primary is X, because Unreal, with a lot of things, Unreal expects primary to be X, secondary to be Y, but I did not do any weird rotation stuff that would change it any further beyond that. And the other rig I have is the mixamo rig, yeah, so when I want to retarget mixamo animations, right? And there are ways of setting that up manually and automatically. Automatically does not fully work. I tried this a bunch of times. At first, when you're looking at it, oh great, it's all kind of working, but in the detail it does not really. And I'm having more plans to retarget for more animations later on. I have an idea with that, with like our local AI and whatever. And so I need to understand how this retargeting works, and very manually. And so we're going to walk through this now. So for now, I will be making a new folder here really quick so we can work in that. And I call this retargeting, all right? And we'll just hop in this. This is just an empty folder. We're just going to hit right click and we're starting with a simple IK. You probably have to, I don't think you actually have to enable shit for that. So just hit IK, and we need two of those. So I'm just going to copy paste it. One is going to be the target, because from to, right? And the other one is going to be the source. Yeah, so we're taking one animation from the source and putting it onto the target. Let's start with the source. That is relatively straightforward, because the source is going to be the mixamo skeleton or whatever mesh you're retargeting from, right? So you can just hit import hierarchy here. I still have this one selected. I'll freshly select that one, and then I can hit import hierarchy, and I just click that little arrow sign here, and it's going to be in there, or you just search it, I guess. Hit OK, you'll have it in here. And as I said, we're going to do this completely manually. We're going to start by figuring out the hip, I think. By selecting the hip. Now in the mixamo skeleton it's clearly called hip, but often you start with the root. For this one, we're selecting the hip, we right click it, and there will be an option that directly tells you set pelvis. But the pelvis is like a very specific thing we have to set, and we're going to just simply do that. Now let's save this for a moment, and we're going to go into our goal here, our target. And here we're going to obviously select now import hierarchy, our target. And now we're working with two things. We're working with the source and the target. For the target, we do the same thing. We're setting the pelvis, and you can see here I have a root above. So I'm going to set this pelvis on the actual pelvis this time. For now, I want to focus on the target. And what we're going to do is down here where it says solve tracker, we're going add solver, I mean. We're going to add a simple full body IK. This is pretty straightforward usually. Now it's going to ask for a missing bone, yeah. So we're just right clicking, or actually we are right clicking the root in this case. Well, maybe we'll change this later. Just keep this as a reminder. But set start bone on selected solver. We have a selected solver, and we're going to set a start bone. So far so good. Now we have to give this solver actual goals it can work with. Let's hop over here into the IK retargeting and add a new, or actually, you know what? Yeah, select the root first of all, and then hit add new chain. Now we have a few options here. Oftentimes it will select the correct name here to begin with. It is very important that you name the structure correctly. Now for the root, it's pretty straightforward. We have one bone, it's called root, so the structure is also called root. We're going to add simply only a chain. You're going to see this appears right now here. I want to hop over for a moment, just for another moment, to the source. Yeah? In the source, I want to do the same thing. First of all, we're going to add for body IK, we're going to, in this case, right click the hip, and we're going to set start bone on selected solver. And because there's a difference in which the start bone is, here it's the hip and here it's the root, I might want to change it later if there's like inconsistency, just as a reminder. And we're going to also select the hip here, and we cannot actually create a root here because we do not have one. So let's hop back to our target, and we're going to set the next bones. The next bones are the spine bones. It's maybe a little bit hard to read. It's even hard to read for me, honestly, but like the spine bones, I select them. And here it's very important. You select spine bone 1, 2, then 3, and how many ever you have, right? You can also select with shift from 2, but the order is kind of important here, I think. And with those selected, we can now go to add chain, and we can observe. Now it will already detect that this is the spine, so it will automatically call it spine. It will not do this for everything, and that is why we're doing it manually. You can see it sets the start bone spine 1, end bone spine 3, goal none. That is correct. We're going to also add this to the chain without a goal, and you can see we have the spine, we have the goal start, we have the end, and no goal. Hop back to the source. In the source, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select the spine from 2. We're going to hit add chain, spine, everything is correct, add chain without a goal. And we have the same thing here. The reason we're doing that, hopping forwards and backwards, is because this needs to be identical pretty much, or as identical as it can be. Generally speaking, you would only create this asset in a vacuum for each rig individually. But you try to keep this naming here very consistent, because this is what we're detecting later. So root, spine, and over here we don't have a root, but we can detect the spine. And later on we're comparing spine with spine. So for now, let's go with a target here. I'm going to fold in the secondary bones that I do not care about right now. Let's go to the shoulder, right? Also for now, I'm also going to work only on the left side. So for the shoulder, I want an individual chain. So I'm going to only select the shoulder, add chain, and it will automatically try to detect the whole arm. And I personally don't like that. What I want to do instead is I want to call this shoulder. Actually, you know what? Let's do it properly. Left shoulder. And this has to stay consistent. We're going to add this without a chain, without a goal. And we have it in here as well. Again, we're going to continue the target for now, but when we are going to add it to the goal as well, we have to have the exact same naming, left shoulder. This is important. Now let's go on. From the shoulder, I'm going to select the upper arm, the lower arm, and the hand. With that, I can add chain. In this case, left arm is fine, is correct. Start bone, end bone, but we're going to add a goal in this time. So. And we can see this yellowish square here, which we can select and we can drag around. And now our whole body will move with it. Why? Because we only have one, it can only follow this one. Let's click reset. And we're going to move on. We're going to move a little bit downwards to the foot. We're going to ignore the right side for now. Here's the tie L. Tie L, calf, and foot. Add a new chain, left leg. And this time, because it's also the IK, we're going to add a chain with goal. So we can see we have now one down here, and when we're dragging, it does like this funky stuff where it's like between those two goals, right? So far so good. We actually kind of managed to do most of them. We should probably do the head, but we're going to do this in a bit later on. We can easily mirror that now. That's why I did the left side first. We're going to start with the shoulder in this case here. We're just going to hit right click, mirror chain, and we're checking it really quick. Right shoulder, all correct, and we're going to still have to edit this the correct way. The shoulder is without a goal. Then we're doing the left arm, right click mirror, the arm is with a goal. The left leg, mirror chain, with a goal. And now we actually kind of have an IK going on here. If you want to reset it, click reset. Now we have to do the same thing on the source, so let's go over to the source. In the source, let's actually compare forward and backward. We're starting with a spine here, then we go to the left shoulder. So I'm going to select the left shoulder, whatever it is called left shoulder actually. Let's just hit that here, and we just rename this consistently, left shoulder. and we're going to add to the chain. Then we select the arm, arm, we're adding it, and we're going to actually stay with left arm. This is correct, but the left arm has to be a goal. We're going down to the leg. Sometimes it's just easier to just select the bone directly, then you'll see it pop up here. Upper leg, left foot. Is this correct? And then we're going to hit add chain, left leg with a goal. And we should kind of have the same result going on here, where we can just drag this around, right? And then reset, and we can also mirror it. So left shoulder, right click mirror without a goal. Right click mirror with a goal. And left leg, right click mirror with a goal. Yes. And then we have the thing going on here. And we are kind of ready to retarget at this point. So next step is we're going back into our folder here. And we're right clicking, and we need a retargeter. Let's just open that up. And over here on the right side, we already see source and retarget target. Yeah. If you don't see it, you want to select asset settings. And yeah, let's just plop them in. So source into the source, assign target to the target, assign, and we can see we have both in here. Sometimes it doesn't do it properly, sometimes it does it properly, I don't know. But let's observe the UI first of all. We have an operation stack here, which I actually, well, ignore it for now. But we also have the hierarchy over here. And we can change between the source hierarchy, right, the one of the mixamo, and we can change to the target hierarchy of our skeleton. And down here we see a lot of animations that are from the source animation. So those are all mixamo animations. It's basically reading the source armature and grabs the animation. Let's just put one in here, idle. It actually kind of works already to an extent. You can see it's not really visible, so we're doing a little trick here. Let's hit stop here. Let's go back to asset settings. And then we can, here where it says source mesh, we're just dragging X a little, and we're offsetting it a little bit. And we can already see some problems going on. Now the first thing we do is we click on run retarget. And you will see that the poses are vastly different. We kind of have to make sure that the base pose is sort of similar. So my legs are kind of straight. It's just the arms that are kind of screwed up. So let me enable snapping here. So I'm doing like 10% snapping, I don't know. And I'm going to just make them straight. So like maybe 60. I'm doing also 60 over here. Maybe a little bit more straight though. Let's do like 70, I guess. Well, kind of like that maybe. Let's stay with that for now. I'm going to hit editing retargeting pose again. And we can see that it's already more accurate. Before the shoulder was kind of broken there. We can also see that the fingers are not retargeting because we didn't set them up yet. But before we do that, I want to take a look at the operation stack over here. You can add operations, you can delete them. For now, let's just turn everything off and just observe what's going on here. Like I said, I figured this out like a few minutes ago, so I'm pretty new to this as well, but I'm going to just share my observations, and I guess that's about it. Now, pelvis motion, obviously, when we earlier right-clicked a bone and set the pelvis, that is what this is referring to. It is basically copying the pelvis motion from the source to the target, right? The FK chains, as far as I understand it, with the full body IK that we're using, each individual chain, so like where we only set like one bone, yeah, so like the left shoulder or the right shoulder or whatever we're going to set, individual bones are going to be pretty much FKs. If we click on it on the right side under details, we can see that it is orientating on the right arm. What is this referring to? If we take a look at the source, we called this here right arm. In the target, we called the same thing right arm. And we have bones in there, like a start and an end bone. This is what it's comparing. This specific name inside the operator. when we're now going to add more stuff to it, it will not automatically fill those in. We have to do this manually, but we will have a little button up here that like auto maps it. But we have to be aware of those things. It seems to also show us the target IK, I guess, the goal. I'm not 100% sure on how everything works. Like I said, I'm figuring it out, but it seems to be that way. Yeah, we can also change the rotation mode. There's like a lot of settings. Copy local would probably break it because we have completely different axes. Yeah, pretty much, right? Because my axes are completely rotated differently. The default settings seem to be just doing what they are supposed to. Let's take a look at the run IK rig. This just simply runs it, but we have to have this sub operator apparently that's just remapping it. And it seems to be layered on top of the FK to make it more accurate. And when we take a look in the run IK, you can see that it's also mapped. Yeah, so this is very important that everything is mapped correctly. Now root motion, take a look at root motion. When we read down here, IK retargeted bone chain root was unable to normalize chain to short. That is simply because we do not have a root in one of those, yeah. But we can, for the target, at least set a root because there we have a root. I wonder, I didn't try this. If I can set in the source the hip as the root. I guess it's going away, but it seems also saying IK retargeted bone. I'm not so sure. It also tells me that my target has no pelvis bone, I wonder. It does, so kind of weird. But anyway, with that being set up, if I now click on any of those, you can see that it's already very closely matching. Now we kind of still have to do the fingers, and the reason I do all of this manually is because the fingers kind of got screwed over. When I did this manually, automatically, it didn't work. So let's do this, I guess, because we will have to map some stuff manually as well after that. Let's go in here. I actually want to start with a target here. By the way, if you were wondering how to change the bone size, because mine are so fat, if you go to bones, bone draw size, right? Originally it's like a 2 or something, way too fat. So I just drag this down a little bit, like to 0.5 or so. Anyway, let's go on. We're going to do the left hand here. Usually, not always, you have metacarpal bones in there. Those metacarpal bones should probably be FK bones, so I'm going to set them individually. I'm just selecting it, add chain, and then it says left index. I don't like that. Actually, I shouldn't start with the index. Let's start with the thumb here, with the thumb metacarpal. And I don't like that. I want actually metacarpal, because metacarpal is relatively specific. How's it written? Metacar, like the car, pal. So, and we're only adding chain because it's not IK bone, it's just a FK bone. So I add chain. Let's do the complete finger. I'm just going to select all the bones. Be aware, I, for example, have a leaf bone in the end here. We don't necessarily have to select it, I think. Let's skip that. So I'm just going to do like thumb 1 and thumb 2 here. And I'm going to add this thing. We also do not have to add a goal here. I wonder, it probably could work better. That's one of the uncertainties I have here. By adding a chain, it would run in FK, I would assume. And if I add a goal, it would probably run in IK. Since I did the fingers pretty nicely, I think IK could work. Now, you know what, let's stay with... It's a decision you kind of have to make. Whatever, let's just do it with a FK for now. That's the way usually fingers are done, so whatever. And we're going to do the other fingers the same way. So I'm starting with a metacarpal, and then I'm just going to like add, and we're going to call this left. Oh, actually, this is kind of stupid. Cancel this out. I might have been a little bit wrong. Left metacarpal just doesn't work. So what we gotta do is left thumb metacarpal. Yeah. So next one is going to be left index metacarpal, and then we're doing like those here. I'm not going to select the leaf bone. And this is just the left index then. Next one is going to be the left middle metacarpal. I'm trying to not make any mistakes when writing this. And again, the fingers at chain, left middle without a target. And I'm going to do this for the other two fingers as well. And I'm going to do this for the source as well. Okay, retract the last statement. Separating the fingers, like I just explained, would make sense if the front part of the finger is an IK, but the metacarpal is still FK, yeah? But since I decided I want to go full FK, we can just straight up throw the whole finger in there, yeah? So one more time, I'm just going to select the thumb until the end without the leaf bone actually. And then we can just actually call it thumb, right? And then the index without the leaf bone. Come on, what the fuck is that? Without index, and then the middle. Yeah, and then the ring. Oh, gee, stop this. Chain. And then we're doing the pinky boy. So. And that should mean we have the fingers. Now we gotta do this for the source as well. So let's hop in and start with the fingers here. Kinda annoying. Also change this. Okay, I'm deciding to do this metacarpal thing anyway, because the problem is that the other one partially has metacarpals. If we're taking a look at the thumb, the left thumb here, we do have one in here that is technically a thumb metacarpal, but here on the index we only have like index 1, 2, 3, yeah. And if we take a look at my target, I have metacarpal and then index 1, 2, 3. So a lot of rigs actually do not use the metacarpal bones. I do use them and I like them, so this is why we have to set it up. So we can exclude it from the other one. We can map it differently. Otherwise it might get confused. This is often why fingers break, because the structure is different. So one last time. Select the metacarpal. And we're changing this to thumb metacarpal. I'm actually going to copy this so I don't have to write it every time. Add chain. And then we're doing the finger. Except the leaf bone. So, and this is how I do now all the bones, metacarpal and the finger bone. Alright, I added all of them and I separated between the metacarpal bones and the finger bones, much more logical. Let's go over to the source, and we kind of want to add this as well. Now again, for the thumb, this is kind of janky because we do have the metacarpal. The first one acts as one, so this is what we're going to add it here as well. And it's not detecting shit at all. It's going to call it like a left arm, but in fact it's just left thumb. Make sure you write it correctly. Thumb, and in this case it's specifically metacarpal. For the rest of it, like the other two fingers here, it is left thumb. It doesn't recognize it at all. Make sure the naming is the same as on the other one. And for the other fingers, again, we don't have the metacarpal, so we are not going to create it. We're just going straight to left index. I hope I write it with the right capital letters. I do. Okay, it's big. And then we're doing this one over here. Left middle add chain, and over here the same. Left ring, add chain, and left pinky. So let's save this, Ctrl+Shift+S. Let's hop over to our retargeter for now. Let's give us a little bit of a better animation, just something where I can see the fingers being deformed. On the left hand, we can see the fingers being deformed here. Here they're not. Why is this not updating? Because we have to take a look at our FK chains. if we're scrolling down here, we can see we have a lot of nuns in here. Yeah, we can do one really quickly together. Let's just do the left index, where we have to select left index. Yeah. What is this orientating on? It is orientating on the fact how we named our bone chain here. Yeah. So when we're selecting left index, it will look at both things. So both things have to have the exact same name. I kind of want to take a look at the left index here right now. Is it even set up? I don't know. Okay, I'm an idiot. I was looking at the right hand. There we go. You can see why is the bones so thick here again. Bones 0.5. You can see with us adding the in FK chains the what is it? Hard to see. Left index in here. The left index is not working. If we go in here for like the middle and we do the middle, left middle, it is also doing the left middle, right? Now we don't have to do this manually because we named it very accurately, so we don't have to go through and none, right? There's like auto mapping, and we can just choose exact because we should have worked correctly, accurately, and then it should just put it all in. Now it will not set the metacarpal bones because our source does not have some. But we can see that the fingers are kind of working. I don't like that the debug is so damn big. It does kind of look nice though. It kind of works. Now we don't have the right fingers. That is not a big deal, however, because we can just hop in. It's a little bit of clicking, yes it is, but it is going to work much more accurately than doing this nonsense automatically. And it's a thing that you only have to like set up once. It's like the data for the rig, and when you're like working consistently with the same rig, this is just a thing you do once and it's pretty much done. That's also why I'm recording it, because whenever I will go back to this, I'm going to completely forget how this works. So let's mirror that stuff. We are starting with like the left metacarpal, mirror chain. In this case, we do not have any goals at all, so I'm just like clicking through here. I wonder, can I do multiple? I can actually. We can do multiple, yeah. Let's not be stupid. Wait. Cancel. Okay. I didn't expect this to happen. Wait a second. Let's try this again. I'm just deleting all the right ones, and we're doing this all at once. So left to left, and then we're going to right click, mirror. We're just checking every single one. Right, metacarpal thumb. Middle, metacarpal, ring. There we go. That should do it as well. Let's hop over to the source. And we can do the same thing here. Select them, right click mirror. Metacarpal, bump. No metacarpal, no metacarpal, no metacarpal, no metacarpal. And let's save that. Let's hop over to our retargeter and just, right. We have to go to the FK chains because you can see a lot of nuns. It's not set up. We can use the exact because we renamed properly. And we can see that the fingers are also working here. Now, there's one more bone I want to actually maybe like a handful more. One thing we kind of haven't done yet is the ball bone, like the toe bone. If I hop over to mine, I have one that is literally called like ball. I like this naming the most. So here I have the ball L. We're just going to add a chain. It's going to have a random name here, kind of weird. So I'm just going to call this left ball without a goal. And I'm just going to mirror that, mirror chain, left ball, add, I guess, yes. Now you can see I have toe bones. Over here we don't have toe bones, but it does make sense setting it up for the target anyway, because technically speaking, whenever you have any other rig you're retargeting from, you're going to use the target source here. Yeah, we shouldn't actually call it target. We should call it like the name of our skeleton, because it's just the information. Yeah, you could also reverse it and use what we currently have as target as source, right? You could also go the other way around. This is just information about the skeleton. Just for our convenience, I renamed it right, like that right now. That's why I'm also going to set up the toe bones right now. Relatively straightforward. I'm just going to like select this one here, starting with a thumb. I'm not going to select like the leaf, and I'm just going to add them in, right? It's not going to be called left leg. I'm just going to call this left toe thumb, yeah, add, and then I'm going to also do the other ones here. So with that done, I'll just quickly select them, hit the mirror chain, add chain, add chain, add chain, add chain. This is relatively straightforward, and we have it on the other side as well. If you ever want to like sanity check things, select them and look out for the blue highlighted. Can I just change my camera speed? This is so annoying. So, and you can just like use the arrow keys, and you can just, okay, pinky, middle, index, thumb. Yeah, I can just sanity check it a little bit. This one is not selected because here, blue, yeah. Let's hop back to our source. In the source, we still have to do the ball, which we didn't do yet. So I'm going to select it. It's called like left toe something, and we're just going to select it, and it's going to be left ball. Add to chain, and we're going to mirror this as well. Mirror and just create right ball. Let's hop back to our retargeter. And we gotta check our FK chains where we have some nuns probably now down here for the whole toes. This is fine. Let's just do exact, because you can already see down here the ball is now mapping correctly. It's not going to work for the toes because we do not have toes on the other one, but this is as accurate as it gets with that. And you can see even the fingers are doing their thing now, pretty much. That means with that knowledge, you can simply import any other skeleton. And we're going to change something really quick. Let's save this. Let's hop back here. And we're going to rename our two files here, because the source is actually the export. Yeah, so the export. It belongs, it is data about this here. So I'm just going to call this export export underscore IK underscore retargeter. And it does not even belong in the folder because it has nothing to do with the other skeleton. It is just information that belongs to this guy over here. And whenever we need to, let's rename the other one as well, because this is going to be my era. Her name is called era. IK underscore retargeter. And whenever you have to like take two, you're going to create a retargeter. This is like the bridge between that guy's information and that guy's information, right? And basically, this is pretty much over, this video. But if you want to like retarget it, let's do one together. So let's say you like want to retarget shit, right? You're just going to open the retargeter. Yeah, so I'm like in my character right now. I'm working, but I need a animation from like the other skeleton or something. I'm hopping in my retargeter that I set up. And I'm going to select like any kind of, I actually wanted, the reason I did this was because I wanted like a walking, some kind of default walking, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at that. No, I don't actually want this here. We just right click this here, or yeah, I think it was a right click, process it, double click, what is it? Oh, quick side note, I found that you can like create retargeting poses, I guess. So you can like store different poses for different skeletons, maybe. Kind of interesting. Oh, there is even an auto align, automatically align bones on source. I wonder if it like, can we, let's just see. What happens if I click that? Align bones, resets the retarget pose, auto aligns. Oh yeah, there we go. Huh, well, the more you know. And if you click editing again, it should be even more accurate maybe. Actually, I kind of don't like that. Whatever. Oh, and you can also reset it if you don't like it, I guess. Reset all. Interesting. Line method, direction, global orientation, mesh. Can do some stuff automatically, I guess, here. Because the retargeting pose, like default pose, is very important for all of them. But whatever. Am I blind? I'm not finding the retarget button here. My god, I really didn't see it. It's actually kind of hidden well. It's right here. I don't know, it just hid from my view. And I'm just going to export this real quick. I'm guessing you can add like prefixes like underscore retargeted or retarget it, and replace. When you like, you can probably select like a bunch of them and do them at once. Overwrite existing files, doesn't matter right now. Export. And technically speaking, when we are now taking a look at that, weird that it's not anything. But here you have like the full animation. Now there is a lot you can do in the actual retargeter, like there are more operations. We don't really need to dive into that into detail, but you can see it's working pretty good so far. Like I said, I probably will do some other stuff with it, but I want to actually go over one or two more things before we leave off. You can see, stop walking, this is kind of annoying. You can see that I have root motion in here, right? I actually don't want a root motion. But we have a lot of settings with the operators, like a lot of them. Like you can probably find what you need. And if you take a look at the pelvis motion, we already have specifically set up the pelvis. We can actually do something here. We have the rotation here. I don't really want to change the rotation. I want to actually do something about the translation. So if we walk in and I can blend this off, voila, we're back there. It actually seems to do exactly what I want, but it's actually kind of weird because it's still doing the Z. It kind of filters it perfectly. Range 0 to 1, blends, blah, 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 blah. So left retargeting pause. So actually, working pretty good. We just filtered out the root motion, I guess. And now I can export it again. Let's see if it actually got overwritten. It's kind of... And I mean, here we go. I can now just hop in and just retarget any of my mixamo animations I want. And with much higher accuracy than the default weird thing. Though I gotta say, I don't really like how the default pose is here, so I'm going to hop back here and I'm going to just try some of the other directions. You got the base knowledge here. Okay, this is definitely not it. You can just keep watching me fiddle around a little bit, or no, okay, what the Jesus. Or you can probably sign off. Maybe there's probably going to be a bit more useful information, who knows. I'm just going to put this back to the direction sign. And actually, you know what? I'm actually really going to reset it and I'm just going to like lift the arms up because this worked kind of the way I wanted it to. Maybe for like different animations it's going to be working a bit different, a bit better. But this actually gives the walk, this is actually more similar to the walk. I wonder if you can, when you're doing that, hop back, can I like select bones? That would be kind of nice. Like for example, the legs. If I select the legs here and I align bones, no, it's doing all of them. Okay, interesting. Oh, never mind, I'm stupid. You can actually do that. I just clicked the wrong button. You can align selected. For the legs, I think this is useful. For the arms, or at least for the spine, it's not as much. Maybe it's actually useful for the arms as well. Let's just select the arms directly. I just don't want to do the spine though. Align selected. There we go. Hop back. Yeah, that's better. And I didn't screw up the spine. Now we forgot a few bones, I just realized, because we still have some here. Like the neck, for example. But you should already kind of know how this goes, because all we're gonna do is like add a new chain, and it's already detecting it as a neck. And we're going to also do the head, I guess. Add a chain, because those are going to be in like FKs. Actually, yeah, it's probably better. Because sometimes you have multiple neck bones, like neck 1, 2, maybe even 3. So those should be probably in different modules. Let's hop back over here and do the same real quick. Because I kind of want to break here. Let's do the neck, add chain, and do the head. add chain. And again, in our retargeter, we have to hop into the stack, into the F case probably, do a quick exec because we know, yeah, the head got adjusted because we know we did proper renaming. Let's just check the AK goals here. We don't have many, so this is fine. Probably a turn or something. In a turn you will see the head. Yeah, the head is a little bit more used, I guess. Yeah, there we go. Kind of cool. Much more accurate. Have fun.